for the meeting of August 13th, 2024 of the Shafter Planning Commission. Let the record show that all members of the Shafter Planning Commission are present with the exception of Commissioner Wiebe with an excused absence. We'll start the meeting off today. We'll call the Commissioner Joshan to lead in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by myself with the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight and be with those who want to be at home. Hope guys to the meeting tonight and listening to that so far.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I second.
Commissioner Joshan,
Aye.
France,
Aye.
Kaiser,
Aye.
and Wiebe. I'm sorry, and Sanchez.
Call to approve the July 9th, 2024 minutes.
I motion to approve the July 9th, 2024 meeting minutes. Second.
Commissioner Joshan,
Aye.
France,
Aye.
Kaiser,
Aye.
and Sanchez.
We'll open the public comment for the planning commission meeting. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wanting to address the commission only on matters not listed on this agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is needed for translation. Please state your name and address for the record before making your presentation. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak during public comment? Anyone online? Seeing no one in the audience or online wishing to speak, we'll go and close the public comment for the planning commission meeting. And we'll move on to the public hearing. Should anyone challenge any proposed action, which is the subject of a public hearing listed on this agenda, that person challenging any action taken after the public hearing may be limited to raising only those issues addressed at the public hearing described in this notice or in written correspondence delivered to the planning commission at or prior to this public hearing. I'll call to staff to present item number 1, extension of time request for tentative track map number 6704.
Yeah, so this presentation is for an extension of time request. Here you have the project site located on the northeast corner of North Beach Avenue and East Fresno Avenue. This tentative track map proposes to subdivide 40 acres into 102 single-family lots. The lot sizes ranging from 11,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet. The zoning is estate and the land use is very low density residential. This map was approved back in March of 2006, and since then it's remained active through various state legislator extension of times and city council approvals. The map now expires on March 7, 2025, and the applicant is requesting a 2-year discretionary extension. This is the last one available to them. After this, if they don't record the final map, then the tentative track map will be null and void, and they would have to go through the process of getting another tentative track map approved. So staff recommendation is for the commission to recommend that the city council approve a 2-year extension of time for tentative track map 6704 to expire on March 7, 2027. And that is all.
Now, you may have already answered this, but what is, and maybe last time we approved something of, or we recommended to approve something of this nature. What is the actual time limit? Because I know a lot of times we do 2 years. Is it like a 5-year time limit?
Yeah, typically when these tentative track maps, or at least back then in 2006 and 2007, when they were first approved, they were approved with the condition that the final map would be recorded 2 years after that, after the council approved them. And then the state has passed various legislator extension of times, and each one has been for 2 years.
Huh.
So they never go over 2 years, for whatever purpose. And so we have, by state law, a local jurisdiction is able to extend a tentative track map by 6 years, independent of whatever the state approves. And so I guess what we've done is we do 3 of those extensions and 2 years each for.
That's
for
our
those-
policy.
Yeah, that's our policy.
Perfect.
This is the last one for this one, yes. So they've got 2 years left to record a final map.
Yeah.
Any other questions for staff?
So if they don't submit one by, like, in the following 2 years, it'll be voided? That is correct, and they would have to start over, get a new
They got
track
paid
map
to
on that site.
get it all dealt with and designed again.
Yeah, it would revert back to acreage. It'd be basically become a parcel again. And they would have, they could come back with the exact same map. It would just be a new number and it would start over again. But yeah, it would revert back to acreage.
But then if they were to start anew, they'd be subject to current conditions of approval, and so it might be more difficult to get that started.
Any other questions? Then we'll call for a motion on the item number 1.
I motion to adopt resolution number 24-446 for the time request for tentative track map number 6704. And I'll second.
Commissioner Joshon,
Aye.
Grant,
Aye.
Kaiser,
Aye.
and Sanchez.
Aye. Move on to item number 2 and ask staff to present for public hearing item number 2, land conservation contract number 24-32.
Yes, this is a land conservation contractor agreement number 24-32 on assessor's parcel number 090-02014, which is located here, essentially east of Cherry, west of Santa Fe Way, and just north of Burbank Street. This one's an interesting one because I think this is the first time the city has actually entered into a land conservation, or what we call a Williamson Act contract. We have inherited Williamson Act contracts when we've annexed county lands into the city. But at least in my research of the records, I believe this is the first time the city has actually entertained a Williamson Act, entering into a Williamson Act contract with a property owner. So as I said, it is a request to enter into a land conservation contract pursuant to the Land Conservation Act of 1965, or also known as the Williamson Act. The parcel is a 33.87 acre parcel, APN 090-02014. The purpose of entering into a land conservation contract is to provide property tax relief for the property in exchange for a 10-year agreement that the land will not be developed or otherwise converted to another use other than agricultural use. The property is located within the city's agricultural preserve 14-02 and is eligible to enter into a contract with approval from the city council. Currently, the parcel is being farmed commercially. With that, the recommendation is to conduct a hearing and recommend approval of a land conservation contract for a 33.87 acre parcel to the city council. And that ends my presentation. I'm happy to entertain any questions you may have. Thank you.
Go ahead. Open this item to public hearing. Please step forward if you wish to speak in favor or against the project. State your name and address for the record. Anyone online? Seeing no one in the audience or online wishing to speak, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing on item number 2 and call to commissioners for questions to the staff.
Why do we have to approve this? Just curious, like, why does it come in? front
Well,
of us?
because it's within our city limits, it's within our ag preserve, and so we are the jurisdiction that would entertain entering into a land conservation contract. In the past, when there were lands outside of the city limits before we annexed, it would be under the purview of the county.
Okay.
And so the county board of supervisors and their planning commission would be the ones to recommend and then ultimately approve or deny the project. But since it is within the city limits, within an established ag preserve that the city has created, it's under our purview to either accept the contract or deny it.
Is there a certain amount of land that the state requires each city have for the conservation?
You mean like in total? No, there's no requirement for that I know of. We certainly have a decent amount of land within our city limits, particularly in the center of the city, that are under Williamson Act contract. We have dozens and dozens of parcels currently that are in Williamson Act.
The contract is made between property owner and the city.
Correct. And then what we would do is record it. It would go against the deed.
Yeah.
And that would then, prove that they have entered into the contract and that the property burden or tax burden would be reduced. That's sort of the benefit of entering into one of these contracts. We get reduced property taxes if we promise to keep the land in ag production. And it's the idea of thwarting a premature conversion of ag land to other uses. And then at some point, they have the right to ask for a non-renewal. If they want, at some point in the future, they can say, hey, we want to non-renew. And then over a 10-year period, that tax burden would increase until it was the full burden that you would have if you hadn't entered into a Williamson Act contract. And then the Williamson Act contract ends, and now you are unencumbered by it, and you can develop your use or develop a different use than commercial agricultural activity on the land.
So if someone wanted to develop, there's a way.
Sure,
do
you
that,
can, you
just
can
have-
also, there's also a cancellation. The non-renewal, you have to wait 10 years, but there's no penalty. If you wanted to cancel, one, you'd have to make certain findings. And second, there would be a penalty as a result of immediately canceling a Williamson Act contract.
Questions from me?
Any other questions from commissioners? Seeing no questions, I'll ask for a motion on item number 2. I'm sorry, we'll close the public hearing. I don't know if I did that prior to asking questions, but I'll ask for a motion to approve item number 2.
I'll make a motion that we recommend approval for the land conservation contract on approximately 33.87 acre parcel, APN 09002014. We're making this recommendation to the city council.
And I'll second.
Commissioner Roshan,
Aye.
Brant,
Aye.
Kaiser,
Aye.
and Sanchez.
Aye. Any reports from commissioners?
If I may, I have one announcement. Next month, I'm going to be bringing forward a item, a little unique. We've talked about, we're working on a general plan update, and part of that is that we're developing a general plan ad hoc committee that consists of council members, property owners, interested parties, people like that. But one of the things that, or one of the individuals that they want, that the city council wants on it, is a planning commissioner. And so I'm going to be bringing forward an item, essentially asking you to pick one of you to be the representative of the Planning Commission on the General Plan Advisory Commission, ad hoc commission. And so, sorry, not commission, committee. And so just wanted to make you aware of that so you can start, thinking about who you may, if you maybe want to throw your hat in the ring, or who you think might be a good person to represent the Planning Commission on that committee.
What's the commitment?
Yeah, it's probably no more than about 8 meetings, maybe about 2 hours. So about 16 to 20 hours in over about a 1 to 2 year period. So it's a little bit of a commitment, but it'll be spaced out over time. So just start thinking about that, and that way we can sort of check that box with regards to the general plan update.
Any other reports from commissioners? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
I second.